This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, The Truth.
Part 2.
Baby, when we left off, Mom, Brenda, and Melissa's prediction that there were going to be some baby showers in the near future was spot on. When Angela hosted a girls' night at her and Q's house, and Q hosted a boys' night at Donovan's house, with the intention of both of them discussing the idea of Q, Angela, and their children remaining at the family complex in Denton despite Q being the kingpin. The meetings went well, and when they were over, Angela came up with a downright diabolical way of informing the ladies that she was with child. She convinced them all to take pregnancy tests, and when it was all said and done, 4 of the 6 women were pregnant. Angela, of course, Stephanie, Salema, and Anya. Angela suggested that they go over to Donovan's and drop the news on the men. Stephanie said she wasn't quite ready to tell Corey, and when she did, it would be in private. And Selena said that her and Wise had already discussed that she would do something grand to inform him when they were expecting their first child. And Anya said she didn't even know she was going to keep the baby. Now, we done been down this road with Anya and Ron before, and we know, just like Anya does, that Ron ain't going. Did I mention that they live in Texas? Angela said, Anya, please, don't make any decisions without discussing it with Ron. You two have already been through so much. Anya signed, my body, my choice. And Stephanie, True, and Renni in unison said, I know that's right. Angela said, do not encourage her. Anya, you're not in this alone. We're a family. We have this community so that we can help one another. You're not raising Junior alone, and you won't be raising this baby alone. Anya signed, Ron is not a hands-on father like my brothers are, or like my father was. He's still waiting for Junior to walk and talk before he really gets involved. No amount of encouraging or coaxing has gotten this man to change diapers, get up with him at night when he cries, or nurse him back to health when he's sick. For the most part, he relies on the technology in the house to inform me when our son needs something. And if I pretend like I don't feel the vibrations or see the lights flashing, instead of getting up and tending to him himself, he comes and gets me. Angela said, ooh, that's not good. Anya signed, who you telling? Now, he'll let me sleep in. He'll cook. He'll clean. He'll buy whatever I want and whatever me or Junior needs. He'll take us wherever we need to go. And he's never missed a doctor's appointment. But he acts like he's scared of that boy. Angela asked, why didn't you say anything before now? Why didn't you have Q or Donovan talk to him? Anya said, and piss him off? What man wants another man telling him how to be a father? We agreed when we got married to keep our personal business between us, to work through our issues together, and leave the family out of it. Angela asked, and how's that working out? Stephanie said, listen, those men talk about just about everything, just like we do. And if they know that one of them is struggling with something, they intervene. Men need a support system, just like women do. They frat. I'm sure Ron discussed his life and his issues with Q before he married his sister. Q's smart enough to know that those issues didn't just go away. Salema said, right. I suggest that at the very least, you talk to Q before you make any decision. Let him talk to Ron. And if Ron has a negative reaction to it, then you know what to do. Rennie said, well, I guess me and True the only ones drinking tonight. What y'all pregnant heifers gonna do? Stephanie said, I'm staying right here because I got to get my mind together. Salema said, I'm going to the store because I'm buying some more pregnancy tests. I need to take like 10 more in order to be sure this is real. Stephanie said, well, get me 10 more too. Anya signed, I'm taking advantage of a kid-free and husband-free night and staying put. True said, well, hurry back from the store, Salema, because we need to talk. I got a situation and I need all of y'all's help. When Salema came back from the store, she and Stephanie took all 10 of those tests each, and every last one of them came back positive. Salema bought 4 or 5 different brands, and all Angela did was laugh hysterically because the tests that she'd given them, she got from Maribel. She knew that they were 99.999% accurate, and there was nothing at the store that was going to be better. But she let them two make fools of themselves, while True laid out all the tea, and it was piping hot. True said, so this is the thing. I'm working on an assignment. That assignment involves me seducing a man to get information out of him. I'm sure you can imagine that that puts a little strain on a relationship. Wood and I were already having some difficulties. I still have yet to see a DNA test that says that Tasha's son is not his. He did acknowledge that his reaction to me throwing her off that boat was a bit much, and he confessed to trying to fix me or whatever. We agreed that we both going to get some help working through our issues. And while I'm on this assignment, we're taking a break of sorts. We're still together, but he's not comfortable being intimate with me knowing that I may or may not be being intimate with someone else, even if it is for a job. And I can respect that. The issue is that the day of the big family dinner in Miami, Big Wood wasn't there. He went somewhere. I don't know where, because he hasn't told me. Salema said, oh, that's easy. He went to upstate New York to see Tough. True said, oh, okay. Well, I called him that night. It sounded like he was at a bar or a restaurant. And I know for a fact that he was not alone. I heard a woman's voice, and it sounded like she was ordering dinner. Salema said, I could be wrong, but that may very well have been Wise's little sister, Amira. True said, what the hell would she be doing there? Salema said, Wise told me that Amira's been visiting Tough. She's been doing some kind of work with some innocence project or something. Tough ain't innocent, but apparently because he got his charges when he was a juvenile, she's been working with some law firm to get his sentence commuted to life with parole. And typically when she goes up there to see him, she's usually there for like 2 days. If I remember correctly, the day of the funeral, she called Wise and told him that she was on her way home from visiting Tough. True said, so he went to visit Tough at the same time that Amira went to visit Tough? They allowed 2 visitors at a time? Salema said, I don't think so. And another thing is, I overheard her tell Wise that they had a lockdown that started the same day that Wood left Miami, which means that nobody was able to leave the island where the prison is. She told Wise that she was planning to leave that following day, the day before the funeral. But the lockdown wasn't lifted until later that day. So she just stayed to the next day. True said, and Wood came back that day. Do you know if he even got to see Tough? Angela said, according to Q, Wood didn't see Tough the day that he got there. He didn't say anything about the lockdown, though. He just said that Wise already had a visitor. True said, now why would he leave that out? Angela said, I don't know. He might have told him and I just missed it. He said that he got to see Tough for like 2 hours the following day, right before he headed back. True said, anybody know what time visiting hours end? Salema said, no, we don't know that. Anya signed, that would be on the jail website. Renni grabbed her phone, pulled it up, and said, visiting hours end at 4:30. What else you want to know, best friend? True said, find out more about that lockdown. Renni did a quick search, and she said, so the jail went on lockdown at 2:37 on Tuesday, a little less than 2 hours before visiting hours ends. And the lockdown was lifted about 4 a.m. the following day. True asked him why didn't he visit him until late Wednesday when it was almost time for him to go. And why the hell did Amira lie and say that the lockdown wasn't lifted until late that day? Renni said, come on now, best friend. She was obviously covering for Big Wood. That was her attempt at providing an alibi. Just in case Tough told Wise that Big Wood didn't visit him until late that day. Wise wouldn't need to ask no questions because he'd already know about the lockdown. True said that was over a week ago and the man still hasn't told me where he went or what he was doing, or who the woman was, who I heard in the background when I called him on the phone, or why he hung up on me abruptly when I questioned him about her. He said he would call me back and never did. Renni said, and what happened when you got in his behind? True said, I didn't. Renni said, what the hell wrong with you? True said, I was trying to give him grace because he left on the heels of my assignment right after Wise told him that he saw me in the garden with that assignment. Renni said, oh. True said, believe me, my mind went to the worst, but I decided to give him some rope. I did ask him once where he was, and he told me he was handling some business for Q. I stopped there because had this been normal circumstance, that would have been the end of my questions. Renni said, for real, best friend? You don't ask questions? Oh, hell no. You a cheater's wet dream. True said, I typically don't ask questions that I don't already know the answers to, and I'm never making it difficult for a man that I love to tell me the truth. It was already obvious that something was rotten in Denmark. Renni asked, what happened? True said, I all but told that man. But I let my assignment suck my soul out, and he didn't flinch. Instead, he said everything I wanted to hear. And then he made it way too easy for us to stay together while avoiding intimacy until I had this assignment wrapped up. Salema said, oh, he had that wood all down somebody's throat, up in their guts from the back and everything. Angela said, Salema. She said, oh, my sentiments exactly. Angela said, now wait a minute. I don't think you should make those kinds of assumptions without at least having a conversation with him. True said, no, I'm going to gather all of the information, get all the evidence and all the facts, and then I'm going to ask him straight out if he's cheated on me. If he looks me in my face and lies, y'all get ready to help Miss Charlotte plan a funeral. Anya signed, how do you keep all of this to yourself, though? True said, It's what I do.
I'm gonna handle this like any other assignment. Anya signed, and I must have missed something too. I mean, y'all signed pretty well, but Renni said, that's because you're not as experienced as we all are. All right, so check it. When you've done something wrong,
something that your man should absolutely be upset with you about,
and he starts out just a little upset with you about it, and then you explain.
No matter how true that explanation is.
If he forgives you like that, is willing to just let it go,
that usually means that he's done something that's worse than whatever it is that you did.
Salema said, and you just don't know about it yet. Then True said,
he's banking on either you never finding out, or if you do find out, being able to throw up in your face what he forgave you for, so that you'll be more apt to forgive him.
Stephanie said, it's the oldest trick in the book. Renni said, and they be way too damn eager. Almost like they be excited that they got something on you. Stephanie said, oh no. They be excited to show you how forgiveness is done. True said, exactly.
They want to be able to say, you did me dirty and I let it go.
Salema said, I ain't even tripped, Ma. Give me a kiss. And all of the women dissolved into laughter, except Angela.
Angela said, True, I don't know why you don't just go to him and tell him your concerns. True said, because then I'm going to be making it easy for him to lie to me.
Stephanie said, and a whole lot easier for him to cover his tracks. Then Salema said, I got you, True. Amira's been begging to come to Texas. And when I say begging, she's been begging. And Wise just keeps telling her no. True asked, you think he knows something?
Salema said, no, I don't.
Wise and I are both
trying to keep the fact that I'm in this life away from his mother and his sister.
They've been trying real hard to find out what exactly I do for a living. We've given them a pretty good, vague cover story. If they had any real idea how much I travel or
came to the estate in Dallas and saw that we clearly live like nomads,
they'd be looking for us to elaborate eventually. Angela said, well, that's perfectly reasonable. His mother and sister should want to visit. Salema said, yeah, I get it.
And we've been able to kind of hold them off because
we plan to go and finish our honeymoon. But the last time Wise talked to his sister, she said that her mother is pretty adamant
about coming to visit us when we get back. Angela said, see, this is why I said that y'all need to establish residency here at the complex.
Salema said, and I think you're right.
I feel like we need someplace that we can bring them to.
Even if it's just once or twice a year.
Just to assuage their concerns and keep the story going.
And that's going to be even more important now that we're having a baby, because we're going to need community more than ever now, too. Hell, we're going to need nannies and chefs and all kind of stuff. Wise and I discussed it. I am not stepping down. Obviously, I'm going to have to take less risks.
And I'm obviously going to have to take some kind of maternity leave. I don't know what that's going to look like.
But I am not going to be able to leave that fool with my baby. And I'm not going to be able to include my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law in the child care. Angela said, but they're going to want to see the baby, be involved.
True said, I was here when Stephanie was in Puerto Rico and Corey had baby Curry by himself. Stephanie said, don't do that, True. True said, no, I don't mean it like that. I just mean that he had a hard time keeping his family away.
Obviously, it's a little different because it's a lot of them and they're all in religion. Eventually, he ended up just taking her to North Carolina and refusing to answer any questions. Salema said, well, that's a problem for another damn day. I'm going to talk to Bella and Wise and figure it all out. We're going to have to at least pretend to live right here at the complex.
Then I'm going to have Amira
and Mrs. Ali over for a visit so we can tell them about the baby. If what you suspect is true,
you're going to be able to get down to the truth.
Your intuition is good, and so is mine.
We'll know if she done had your man.
True said, cool.
In the meantime, I'm going to keep on gathering information. Now, who pays for Amira's trips to visit Tough?
Salema said, now you're cooking with grease.
Wise pays for him.
Salema grabs her phone,
called Lorenzo and said, cousin, I need a favor.
Can you access
all of the room swipes at a hotel
that somebody stayed in like a week ago?
Lorenzo said,
you have all the information for the reservation? Salema said, check your inbox. It's already sent. Not even a good 10 minutes later, Salema got a ping on her cell phone.
She said, jackpot. Amira Ali checked in Tuesday morning.
A little after 8 a.m., she swiped into her room at 8:12. She swiped in again at 4:07. True said, shortly after the lockdown started. Salema said, Salema kept reading. Then she said, uh-oh.
Renni said, what? Salema said,
there aren't any more swipes until Wednesday morning at 10:30. 10 minutes.
After she went down to the reservation desk and extended her stay.
Checkout time is 11 a.m. While she was down there, she got a second key. Renni said, oh, hell no. Who's behind? We whoop first. Salema said, she ordered room service for 1 around 1 p.m. though. But that second key was used to swipe into the room around 4:47.
True said, we need that hotel camera footage. Renni said, we also need Big Wood's key card swipes. Salema said, we can't ask Zoe for that.
He's dating Big Wood's older sister, Zora.
And he and Wood are thick as thieves. He not gonna get that man up.
Stephanie said, but my nephew Michael can get that same information.
Angela said, no, you will not involve my son in this mess. True said, Angela. Angela said, no.
I put hands and feet
on Stephanie while we were both pregnant because she tried to involve Michael in her mess with CT. You're not involving him.
Stephanie said, come on, Angela, this is true. Angela said, find another way. True said, it's okay, it's all right. Salema said, the second key wasn't used anymore after that. She swiped into the room around 8:30 that night, though, and she checked out at 8 a.m. the following day. True said, what about meals? Other than that one room service. Salema said, right. She charged a meal, a mixed drink, and 10 shots to her room Tuesday. True said, what time was that? Salema said, the tab was closed at 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. True said, so he had dinner at the bar and drinks with a mirror until 2 a.m. She spent the night in his room. That's why she was swiping into her room at 10:30 a.m. She made a pit stop at the front desk, though, to extend her stay, and got a second key for him. I'm sure that at the same time, he checked out, and they probably returned to her room together so that they could finish what they started. And then later that day, he went over to the prison to visit Tough. And when visiting hours ended, he returned to the hotel, I guess to get him a little goodbye nookie. And then he left the island and headed back to Miami. Ain't that something? Angela said, True, you're making a lot of assumptions and taking a lot of liberties. Stephanie said, and you could clear a lot of them up, but you won't. And what's crazy to me is I bet good money that if you even thought that Q was laying another broad down, you wouldn't hesitate to use Melissa's gift, Michael's gift, Mom Brenda's gift, or your own gift. Everybody looked at Angela. Angela said, Stephanie, I don't know how you could believe that. If that were the case, Marcus wouldn't have had a 5-year-old child that I didn't know about. That whole situation changed me. But what it didn't change is the part of me that refuses to snoop. I refuse to dig and investigate. Not because I'm too good for it, but because if my husband gives me a reason not to trust him, I'm going to confront him head on. And if he can't give me an explanation that's reasonable, if it doesn't pass the smell check, if I test the spirit by the spirit and it comes back dirty, I don't need details. I'm out of there. True, I would suggest that if you're going to stay, stay and let this go. But if you're going to go, go. And still, let this go. Sneaking, conniving, digging, it all ends badly. And in the end, you're going to break your own heart. If you truly believe that Big Wood was unfaithful, just ask him. If his answers don't assuage your doubts, then you need to move on. Renni said, no, then you need to whoop his behind. True said, I love him, Angela, for real. We both have a lot of work to do. So before I walk away, I gotta see this through. And whether my suspicions are true or not, I need the truth so that when I ask him, I know whether his answers are the truth. I need him to be able to tell me the truth, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad he thinks it's gonna hurt me, no matter what he thinks he's going to lose, because we are both in a game that's always gonna come with some hard truths. And we are not going to survive if we lying to one another. He knows exactly who I am. I need to know if he can treat me like somebody, despite all the things that he knows about who I am. I just want somebody.